Fred here, welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel, and happy Labor Day weekend! I thought I'd go ahead and take it easy. Actually, I just thought about maybe taking off and just relaxing, but how about we make a sort of a casual video where I thought it'd be cool to show you my watch collection, so stay tuned. I thought it'd be cool to sort of work my way from oldest to newest, so I'm going to go ahead and show you my oldest watch first. This watch is probably from the 1950s. It's a Grun. I'd like to take a close look at that. It's pretty old. It really doesn't have anything on the back other than stainless steel is all it says. When I went on the internet and tried to look at it, I saw styles just like this, but they had like a little second-hand dial separate down on the bottom, and they all seem to center around the 1950s, and it had this kind of style. This thing still works. It's an automatic. It winds when you shake it, and it still works perfectly. By the way, it wasn't this shiny a day or two ago. Even the crystal was sort of had like a white haze to it, and one of the things that really cleaned this right up, just so you know, this is like a little infomercial in the middle here, is this flit stuff. It's not only for metal, but it works good on plastic too. So it'll generally work on most crystals, you know, especially if it's a plastic or some sort of plastic compound. I'm not sure what this is. It feels like it could be plastic, or it could be mineral glass. I'm not sure. Let's see, my next watch is this guy. Now this guy my dad gave me. This is probably the most special watch I have. He had given it to me. He worked in a machine shop, and he basically you know, had this watch on, and it got torn up. Eventually he gave it to me while I was in the Navy, and I wore it and tore it up even more. So when I dug this out about a week ago, this thing was just loaded with scratches. It wasn't shiny at all, and the crystal was totally torn up. There might have been maybe, you know, at a minimum of 100 scratches, about 3 deep gouges, and I worked really hard to restore this watch. Now this is a Seiko. It's a 7009 series based on the serial number that I found on the back here. It's probably 1985, specifically October 1985. And it still works, and it's another automatic. It winds when you shake it, and you can see it has day and date. Really cool watch. Now you might ask how I got all the scratches out. Well, buffing wheel for all of this with different rouges. And for the mineral glass, I was going to replace it, but then I did a little bit of reading, and well, hold on a minute. I went ahead and got these. I started with some 1000 grit, and I basically wet the table, and I stuck the paper down on it on the table so it wouldn't move, and I took the watch and I just sat there and, you know, just sanded it. But this is very fine sandpaper. It's 1000 grit, and then I moved on to 2000 grit, and now it's spotless. Now you don't want to do this with a plastic type of face. You only want to do this with if you have like a mineral glass of some sort, and it's spotless now. Let's see, next watch is I have several G-Shock. I've had about 4 or 5 of these in my life, and this is the oldest one that I still have that's in one piece. Let's see, what model number is this? This is a GW300. Still works good. Still wear it. This is probably the watch I wear the most and beat around at work and everything. I don't have to worry about it, because when I walk, my arms fly everywhere and they're banging against everything. And what I love about these G-Shocks is that the face here, the glass, the mineral glass, whatever you want to call it, is sunken in really deep. So I never get it scratched. The outside here takes the blunt of all the blows. So pretty good. I'm not a, as you could tell, a watch expert. So I'm just showing these off. I do have an older G-Shock, but that's all that's left of it. The case around it basically deteriorated, and this was what was left inside. I don't know. Oh, I do know what model is. This was a DW6600, and it still works perfectly fine, even the light. And this is probably well over 10 years old. And I do have a more current G-Shock. This is quite a few years old also. They still sell these. This runs almost $100 actually. This was a gift from my wife, and if she's watching the video, I still appreciate it. And thank you very much. It's one of my favorite because you gave it to me. And it's model GW1500A. There that is. The only thing that I don't like about this is because it's very busy going on there. It's hard to see what time it is without looking hard. And as you get older, like me, and you need thicker glasses, like me, it's harder to read these. And without my glasses, I couldn't tell what time it is with this anymore. And you'll see a trend with my newer watches that they sort of get easier and easier to read because the numbers get bigger and bigger. Let's see. Now, here's another watch that I'm sort of more into the recent watches now. This is kind of a neat watch. It's another Casio. If you notice, I love Casios. Now, this isn't a G-Shock, but let's see. This is model SGW100. Whoops, almost lost it. And what's neat about this watch is it has two sensors. One is a compass and the other one is temperature. Unfortunately, watches that have temperature generally do a very poor job of telling you what temperature it is because they're on your arm and you have a temperature that's usually warmer or cooler, but generally in most cases you're going to be warmer than the ambient temperature around you, and you're going to have to either take your watch off, leave it off for a couple of minutes to get a good temperature reading, or try to set a compensation into it where it can take into account your heat from your arm. But when you do that, it's just not very accurate. It doesn't end up very good. I've tried and tried, and this is not the only watch I've had with a thermometer, and it just doesn't work out. Okay. Now here's a watch that I actually did a video on because it's not a watch, it's a iPod, and it's a iPod Nano that's in a lunatic case, and you can change the faces. I'm not going to get into the details. I do have a video probably half a year ago that I did on this, but that's just the face that I chose right there because it's easy to read. And the lunatic case, this particular one I picked out because it's raised up, as you could tell, so this is sunken in, so unless you scratch up the face of the iPod in there. And this is really cool. I used to wear this a lot, but not as much lately for reasons. Anyway, really cool watch. I love this, and you could listen to your music too. The future. This is the future, by the way. You're gonna have. There's already cell phones that look just like this. There's also Bluetooth devices that link with your cell phone and give you Facebook information, all that stuff. Now this Nano doesn't have Bluetooth. If it did, this would have worked out really nice. Alright, next watch. This watch was a gift from Kooioo2, spelled K-O-O-I-O-O-2. Sent it to me to my P.O. box here at the Gear Obsession channel. And look at that. That is just a gorgeous, gorgeous watch. It actually was like kind of dull when I first got it. And again, I touched this thing up with some flits, and it just looks marvelous, marvelous. I believe it's German, but I'm not sure. But it does have a Japanese movement in it, and it's keeping great time. And it's a great conversation piece. It's very unique. Now, it's not the first time that you've seen that they've done this kind of things. If you go on Google, you can see other watches that are sort of have the same thing going on. Sometimes they'll they'll cover up everything but exactly what time it is, but the time is basically, you just read across the rings right there. So really, really cool. I might change the band though, sorry. This band I'm not too crazy about, I might change it. By the way, that Seiko 7009 series that my dad gave me, this is not the original band. What I did was I picked this up at Walmart. He used to always have these metal stretchy bands, you know, the kind that sort of get your hair stuck in and yanks it out. So I got something that sort of what was on the watch, similar, that he would have had on there. Alright, next watch. This is a Casio model number AMW320R, and again, this is because my eyesight's getting poorer. This is sort of a more high contrast face. It's a gold face, and it's easier for me to see what time it is with this. And down here you could either have a second time, or I usually leave the month and date in there so I could just know what day it is as well as the time. I really like this watch. It's very, very nice looking. This watch has been being produced for well over 10 years by Casio. You can see the ring actually rotates down here. You know, most of these watches are waterproof down to 100 meters these days, and this is no exception. But this is what I really like the looks of this watch. I really like. One of the downsides to this, I heard, was the straps. The strap is not as good as as the other Casio G-Shocks. They'll break. Now this one is made in China. The earlier ones, if you go back a couple years, were made somewhere else. I believe Malaysia or something like that. I'm not positive. Alright. Gotta grab some boxes here, because I just got this one. This is why I'm making the video, by the way. I want to show off this. But first, this is a Armatron. This is not a very expensive watch, but it's a very cool looking watch. I believe I paid like about 40 bucks for it. It was marked down, but I love these skeleton watches. Yeah, and it's a watch that self-winds also. If you never saw how a self-wind works, you could see how, actually you can't because I'm an idiot. You can see how, there we go, how that weight sort of moves inside. You can see it moving right there. And that's how that's how automatic watches wind. That weight sort of spins around that axle, winds the spring up. And you can see the flywheel spinning there. Pretty cool. You can actually see right through this watch. If I were to shine a light behind it, you could see some light coming through there. Pretty cool. So I love this watch. I use, this doesn't actually turn here. This is mostly just for show. It doesn't give you the day or date, which I do like to have, and it doesn't. So this is like a dress watch, or just to be a little flashy, is all it is. And I don't wear it much because you gotta have really good eyesight for this thing, because it's hard to see the hands because everything is silver and a lot going on. It's hard to tell what time it is without looking really hard at this watch. And last, I actually have a lot more watches, all cheap, crappy watches, but I just wanted to show you my favorite one. And this is my new favorite because I just got it, and it's a Pulsar. And Pulsar is something pretty special because Pulsar would be the first brand of watch that I've always wanted. In 1971, Pulsar came out with their first watch, and I think they were called the Hansen Watch Company or something like that, and they created a brand called Pulsar for their first digital LED watch. And the thing had like red LEDs, and you got to press the button to see it, and they cost like $200-300, and they had a gold version that Tiffany sold for over $2,000. But ever since that watch, that LED watch, I always wanted a Pulsar, and I never got one. But later on in that decade, like 1978, Pulsar was bought by Seiko, and it's essentially Seiko's middle-of-the-road models. You know, Seiko's the high-end, and the Pulsars, which are owned by Seiko, are the middle-of-the-road, and they got a cheaper brand that I can't remember. Now, this is a PS7001, and it has a altimeter, barometer kind of thing. It measures pressure, air pressure, and it also tells you the temperature. And I love the negative being white on black writing as opposed to the normal black on white kind of thing going on. And usually when this is done, especially with cheaper watches, they're very hard to read. For example, here's I told you I got a lot of cheap watches. Here's a Walmart special. This thing maybe $12, and you can see it's very hard to read it. You know, you got to be at the exact right angle to see the writing, and it's still not very bright. I actually bought this as an example to show you what a bad bad one looks like as far as contrast is concerned. But you can see how much better this looks, and it has a much wider viewing angle, really bright. But just look at that. It's a gorgeous watch. It has a lot of modes. I'll take you through them really quick. You can see it has, I gotta turn this over, the pressure, and you could change the, you don't have to have it in feet, you could change it to something else. Or is this pressure, or is this altitude? This could be altitude, or I don't know. There's weather and the temperature. I can tell you right now it's not 64 degrees because I had set the temperature to compensate for being on my arm. What else? We got chronographs, and you could store up to like 30 or 50 readings inside its data bank where it'll remember them. And you have timers. You could, I think you could set a bunch of timers. Alarms, you get like 5 alarms, then you have another alarm when you hit a certain altitude in the altimeter, and then you have another one to remind you to hydrate. And you go back to the time, and it has 2 time zones. You could quickly toggle back and forth between them. If you hold it in, it'll permanently switch it. So let me see what that second one is. That second one was the altimeter, and you can see that I'm 105 feet above sea level. I believe this is calibrated properly. And if you see on the top, this is sort of like a graph, so if I were moving up or down, you would see that reflected there. When you get to the weather, on the top here, it shows the barometric pressure eventually, and it'll give you like a scale, so you can see a trend, so you could tell if it's you know, if the pressure is dropping, like it sort of is. That could mean coming bad weather. So I absolutely love this watch. I had just got it. This thing ain't cheap. This is the PS7001. It retails for $235. Usually you could get these for about $185, but I found this on Amazon, you know, from a store on Amazon for the unbelievable low price of $124. I actually missed an opportunity. If I bought it a couple of days early, I probably could have got it for $116. So my one of my favorite right now, favorite watch. I think I'm done buying watches. I already have too many watches, but I love this one because I love gizmos, and it has lots of functions. And the other thing I like about it is that the numbers are big, so I can read it without my glasses. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of my cheap ones really quick. Again, where's that other Walmart special that I had? Here we go. So we had this Walmart. You know, these are all Chinese made. You might see something similar to this or this. This another Chinese. These both cost $12 at Walmart. What I wanted to sort of say about this is that the movements and even the styling could be closely copied and rebranded, like under the name Polo and other designers, if they have some low-end stuff, they usually just rebrand these cheap Chinese-made watches, but they'll charge you an extra $5–10 more than what you could already get in the bargain counter there at Walmart. So I really like this one, and it's heavy. You can knock someone out with this. It's these things. This guy has a lot of heft to it, and I kind of like this one. It's pretty bright, easy to read. This one, not so much. I have a Timex and a Casio that sort of looks similar. They have that high contrast face that I like. You could see that. This one, actually I like this one. You get the day on the bottom there, day, date, or you could put another time. This is a Casio AW80. It's very lightweight, very easy to read. Really accurate. I've been very happy with it. It lights up in the back, really nice. Where's the light button? There we go. It's hard to tell because I got the, there we go, you can see it light up there. I wish I had a green light in the back. Actually, this one, the Forester by Timex, right there, it only tells you the day, or the date, not the day, but it has a cooler light. It has that blue glow to it. You're probably not going to be able to see it here, but let's see if we can. There we go. You can see, there we go. I can't get it in front of the camera there. But I like it when a face does that. I wish the Casio, where did I just put that guy? I wish that this guy did that glowy thing like the Timex, but I'm still like the Casio's better. And last but not least, this is another cheapo Timex, probably about $10 from Walmart. I had bought this because I left home and I forgot to grab a watch, and I just can't stand being without a watch, so I just picked up a watch here at Walmart. This is a Timex 1440 cheapo. I wanted something easy to read. I grabbed it. You can see some of the finishes already come off, and I barely wore this thing. So, you know, $10, you get what you pay for, especially with this guy. So I'm getting ready to go to the next scene, and I look at my desk and I'm like, crap, I forgot one more watch. I've had this one probably for about 10 years. My sister gave this to me as a birthday gift. She always picks out the perfect gifts. And this is when Tony Stewart was in the Home Depot number 20 car. She got me a Tony Stewart watch. And I'm not wearing this at all. I think I wore it once, and that was it. And it's going to stay in here. It has a Japanese movement. Actually, it keeps time pretty good. I think the battery finally gave up the ghost. But I'm going to keep it right in here forever. So I really wanted to show off this Pulsar. Really, this is the reason, one of the things that really prompted me to do this all-out watch video, because I wanted to show this off. There's not too many videos out there on the internet that really show off the Pulsar PS7001. I do want to do a shout out to a channel named Exacto, and I'll go ahead and put the link below. And Exacto has a very, very good review of this watch. Now, be warned, he sometimes will use some colorful language, and I know some of you watch my channel because I don't, so you were warned. But if you don't mind, you should subscribe to Exacto, and he has a really good review of this watch if you are interested in it. If anyone's interested in maybe a more specific review of one of these watches, let me know, and maybe I could slide one in when we get some time. Now this weekend I'm going to go ahead and work and do the final touches on the Ramp of Truth. I may have something ready by Tuesday where we could go ahead and compare two lubricants on it, hopefully. At least that's my plan. So that's about it. Someone sent me a package. I don't want to say the name, but it does say on it, for your next mail call. So I did get your package, and I'm dying to open it because if it feels like there's something significantly big in there, and it has a little bit of heft to it, but I got to open it, I guess, on camera, so it's killing me not knowing what's in there. So you can see that my collector gene also works on watches. It works on cameras, guns, and knives. So there you have it. I think I'm done with the watches for a while. I need to be able to purchase stuff for the channel, right? So we can, I basically, what I make plus more gets reinvested back into this channel. Any AdSense that I get, I don't come close to making up, so so basically I'm taking my addictions that I have and just trying to pay some of it off so I'm not in the poorhouse for the rest of my life. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and you, and I hope you have a great Labor Day weekend and holiday, and I will see you Tuesday.